Hello and welcome to my true crime podcast. I'm pausing here because I have not been on for at least 3 weeks, and I'm actually on a new computer, and everything sort of is in test mode. In any event, it has been a long, long time, and I miss you guys, and I am back. But anyway, uh, like the video, and if you have not subscribed, please do so now. Speaking of subscriptions, I began a new newsletter on Substack. Yes, I did. I did that because the success of my Epstein Project newsletter has been really amazing. And I decided, well, you know what? Let me add a second one, because the second one gives subscribers the option of commenting. I can reply to these comments, and also it allows you to access archived material, which I don't let you do in the Epstein Project newsletter. So I began this about 10 days ago, and the response to that has also been really amazing. So here's the thing. What I do by having these newsletters is I try to circumvent the media blackout. And so some of you are only now realizing that we have lived in a world of media blackout, but others that follow me and have followed me for a while, you knew this coming in. And if you haven't, you're sort of up to speed on the fact that we have lived in media blackout forever. So for example, the Jeffrey Epstein case is only a tiny tip of a very like really giant iceberg of interlocking and connecting stories. But there has been a media blackout, not only on the Epstein story, for example, but others that came decades before and that maybe happened in another location. These are all interlocking and connecting stories. There's a labyrinth of these untold stories. And when sometimes when they're, quote, told, end quote, they're told by the very people, the letter agencies, in a way that puts a slant on the truth. So, here I am. I've basically, gosh, sometimes it's just hard to explain who I am and where I come from and all of that. So here's the thing. I've learned a lot from the unseen world that we all inhabit, because whether you see it, you keep your head in the sand, you never find out about it, or you belong to it in some way, and not everyone who belongs to it in the way that the higher ups belong to it. You can be trapped in it. Let's say like someone like Virginia Giuffre was trapped in it. Someone like myself was trapped in it. So I've seen the world of human trafficking, and I've seen the world of being a sex slave. And ultimately, I've seen the world of spies. And so this knowledge of that world, combined with my research skills that I am blessed to have, I'm just like connecting one dot to another. I have a very, very good memory. I can spot photos and say, you know what, that photo belongs with this group because I recognize a face that maybe doesn't have a name to it, or I can see patterns where other people just see different stories. Everything is titled different. Everything is given a different sort of theme. important facts are omitted. So, for example, in the Franklin child abuse case, there are books written about this, 2 books. The first one was written by a friend of CIA Director William Colby, who was also in his Project Phoenix program in Vietnam, but he wrote the book, and he was also one of the quote attorneys, end quote, because you've got to use that attorney term in a very light way, because the attorneys turn out to be insiders. And you have seen me write about this on my Twitter. And then there's a second book that was written. However, the person who wrote the second book did not include anything about MK Ultra or mind control, which is a very big aspect of the Franklin scandal. So when these books are written that do not contain all of the information, or these articles are written that do not contain all of the information, so they may have a little bit, but not the whole picture, I call that misinformation, because it is misinformation. It's meant to make you look here when you should be looking over here. So my focus is to share the information that I've learned in this unseen world with you. And sometimes I have to say that on Twitter, I'll get a question that I cannot answer for a risk of losing my account. And I find it unusually odd. And sometimes I do lose my temper, and I apologize for that. But I seem to think that it's like, why are you asking me such a detailed question about something that I cannot answer without A, jeopardizing my life further, and or B, losing my account? Okay, so sometimes I then begin to suspect, and it sounds paranoid, but hey, when you're in this alternate universe, there's a reason to be paranoid. Gary Webb, an investigative reporter who outed the CIA's use of bringing cocaine into the poor areas of California and creating what we know as crack babies. When he broke that story in the 1990s, he was a marked man. Initially, he made it onto mainstream media news, and then he was labeled a liar. And then soon, oh, we have another suicide. Or, I think many of you are much more familiar with Danny Casolaro. All right. And so he was investigating Promise and Mina Airport and BCCI and the October Surprise, and a bunch of, again, interlocking stories that all have a connection to intelligence. And what happens? He goes up to West Virginia, checks into this really horrific little hotel, and he's supposed to meet a source, and oh, another suicide. So I then have to question the people who ask me questions on Twitter that are too sensitive. Hey, does this person just want me to get kicked off? Is this person part of the other side? And that's because, like, these questions primarily don't come from my regular people who comment and I comment back, and we've known each other for a long time. These questions come from accounts that I am not familiar with. And so, it's like, what's the deal? In any event, if people really want answers to questions, join my Patreon or join my Substack, where I can have an ongoing conversation, or at least answer, because I can't answer every single question, obviously. But I do, on these other platforms, have the ability to answer, reply to people who ask questions. And also, I host my Ask Me Anythings, where you can literally ask me anything. So I just wanted to sort of bring you up to date. Like, for example, I sent out today's newsletter, I'm not going to repeat the title of it, but I am doing a whole series on the women who enabled Epstein. It wasn't just Ghislaine Maxwell. It wasn't just Sarah Callan. It was a bunch of other women that have not been looked at all by mainstream media, nor will they. The only one who's looking and piecing dots together, and really these dots are like mountains. I find like these stacks of information. It takes me a very long time to dig through them, but I put it together in such a way that it makes for easy reading for my subscribers. And then I can share this with you, and you can sit there and say, oh, okay, I see how this fits into the scheme of things, and how Epstein did what he did, and likewise with my other series, because I tend to do multiple part series on my newsletters, although there are times when it's just, a one-parter. And some of these series, by the way, go on to become books that I then publish. So for the Epstein's Women series, I want to make sure that everyone who becomes a subscriber of my Epstein Project newsletter, which you can only subscribe to on my website, kirbysommers.com, that everyone gets the whole series, because I don't want anyone to miss anything. So whether you become a yearly member or you become a monthly subscriber, I will send that series to you, and I'll send you what I have available. And then when it's completed, and I plan on staying on this series for a while, because there are a lot of, again, these mysterious airplane crashes, for example, or mysterious accidents, or these suicides that come from out of nowhere. So like there's all this intrigue and stuff that, again, media blackout, what can I say? So on the term media blackout, I'm going to say, hey, like the video again, subscribe. If you have any comments, please remember to leave them below. And really, from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank you for being such incredible supporters of my work, because I could not have done any of this, none of it, without you. So thank you. All right, have a good day. Bye.